Hey, what's up? I'm Jason Howell with Twit, and I am here with the Sony Tablet P. Now, I know things look a little strange right now with this giant bezel going between my face here, so let me get rid of that. That is so much better. Anyways, don't mind that. Let's get into the specifics of the Sony Tablet P. The Sony Tablet P is on AT&T's HSPA Plus network. It has a 1 GHz dual-core Tegra 2 processor inside, matching 5.5-inch screens, each of those at 1024 by 480, which is kind of a unique resolution. It has a rear 5-megapixel camera, as well as a front 0.3 megapixel camera. And as you can see around the entire device, it has this very thick 1-inch bezel that is a little awkward to maneuver around. I'll get to that in a second. It has one single mono speaker on the left-hand side, and on the right-hand side here you have a micro USB port, a volume rocker, and then of course the power. The software running in here is Android 3.2. It's Honeycomb, not Ice Cream Sandwich yet, though the bright side is Sony has said that this will be upgraded to Ice Cream Sandwich sometime soon. Let's take a look at the design of the Sony Tablet P. As you can see, it's very unique. It's a clamshell device, so those of you who are fans of clamshell devices might be at home here. The hinges on this device are actually nice and sturdy, but this bezel around the edges is really awkward. Right now you see the keyboard on the bottom, and even just to kind of get my fingers out to the center, if that bezel wasn't there, it would be a lot easier. And also, if you're using this for any period of time other than maybe a couple of minutes, you're going to notice that these sharp edges start really poking into your palm, and it actually starts to hurt after a while, after short use. So if you're using this for extended periods of time, you just kind of have to get used to this slight pain in both of the palms of your hands. And now cameras. It has a 5-megapixel camera on the back. That 5-megapixel camera is okay, it's reasonable, and the quality of the pictures is so-so. The 0.3-megapixel front-facing camera is kind of a joke. And when you take a look at the pictures, you're hard-pressed to even want to do any sort of video conferencing even with a camera that shabby. Now for the display. As you see, it's the two separate displays, and the images are actually very sharp and black. Considering that the resolution makes everything a lot smaller, things look a little more crisp. But as I said, everything seems really small. What I noticed in continuous use with this device is that the size of the icons and the text is even smaller than it would be on a phone. When you're using a tablet in the way that you use tablets, you're normally using it a little bit further from your face than maybe you are your phone, and everything's just way smaller. A lot of the built-in Google apps have been modified to fit across both of these displays, so it kind of makes it a little bit better, but you can't expect all third-party application developers to do the same. So you end up with really strange artifacts and strange use cases. For example, I'll pull up Speed Test, and it relegates it to one side of the screen, leaving all of this dead space on the other side. That's fine, that makes it usable. And sometimes you have these little arrows down here to where you can extend it across both screens, which is what you would hope. But then again, the dead center bezel really seems to get in the way. No one would want to use it like this. To illustrate that further, we'll go into the web browser, which I gotta say the speed on the web browser is pretty good as far as web browsers on Android devices go. But if we go to live.twit.tv, you can see Steve Gibson on Security Now, and I'm pretty positive his neck isn't that long. The bezel seems to split right down the center of so many images in so many different apps. Another really good example of the oddness of this, and I don't understand how they could overlook this, is the Play Store, the Google Market. When you go to it, it's a single screen up at the top. The bottom screen is not populated at all, and there is no way to extend it across both screens even if you wanted to. The bright side here is that it's PlayStation certified, and it actually comes with Crash Bandicoot from the PlayStation 1 built into the device, and it's a reasonable experience. You have your PlayStation controls on the bottom, your side controls on the side, and your screen up at the top. All right, now I've told you the skinny about the Sony Tablet P. Let's get into the pros of the device as I see it. Number one, it's extremely compact for a tablet. Its PlayStation certification makes it better than normal for gaming, and the displays are incredibly bright and pretty crisp. Now the bad. The thick bezel that you see around here gets in the way all the time, and I consider it a total deal breaker. All apps behave differently with the dual screens, so you never know what you're going to get. It's uncomfortable to use for even short periods of time, really, the cons on this device are too many to list. So if you haven't guessed by now, I would recommend you not buy the Sony Tablet P. I'm Jason Howell with Twit, and you can catch my reviews of Android devices on another show I do on the Twit Network, all about Android. Check that out. Otherwise, thank you for watching my review of the Sony Tablet P.